I have been getting a lot of messages throughout the years of, hey, Mystical, just do a video on your predictions. So here we are with a video for UFC 308 full card predictions. This is Monday before the event. Now, listen, very important. Don't take these too serious because I want to lock these in on Friday. And I urge you guys, before you make the gamble, the bet, your predictions, you lock it in. Get all the evidence. I've been saying this forever. Monday is too early to make predictions for a card that happens on Saturday. Get all the information, whether there's a press conference or there's a weigh-in, whatever it is, wait until Friday. If you look on MMA-Holes.tv, that is our website where we do a pick'em league. You go on over there, boom, you make your picks for the entire card. It's a great, clean site. It's our site, and no one else runs this but us. So this is the first year we've been doing this, and we're having a lot of fun with our community. We have 399 members already, and we just launched this thing. We call this the Goat Milk Challenge, and if you win, you get a customized belt at the end of the year with your name on it. So good luck to everyone playing on the Goat Milk Challenge. This could be yours. Remember, friends, it's free to get in here, so MMAHoles.tv. By the way, if you're going to make your predictions, don't forget mybookie.ag. This is the place to make your bets for UFC 308. The code is MMAHOLES, and get that 10% match on your first deposit. Let's go, baby. Right now, as I look at it, Max Holloway getting a plus 200. Oh, before I get into the predictions for this thing, by the way, here's my prediction percentage on MMAHoles.tv. Now, this is for like 19 events, and I have a 63% pick percentage. Wins 134, losses 79. So I got to say, that's not bad. I always like to say around 60% is great if you're predicting the entire card. If it was just the main card, I'd probably be in the 70s to 80s on the main card. But for preliminaries, when you have guys like this, it gets tricky. It's like, let's flip a coin. So it's very tricky when you're doing entire cards. But for 19 events, entire cards, 63%, I like to put my money where my mouth is. Unlike those other people out there that just put out predictions and don't give you their win percentage. Come on over to MMAHoles.tv. I challenge you. So this is how I do my predictions for every single UFC card. Like I said, I lock them in on Friday, but I like to do this. As I scroll through the card and we start with fight number 1, immediately you see the tail of the tape. Now, like I said, Rafael Cercarara, there's really not much information over here. They say he's 6'4", 205 pounds. And then you have this guy from Turkey, Ebo, 6'3", 205. You got the reach at 77.5, orthodox stance, and then the rest of the striking accuracy and average and submission average, all that fun stuff. If you look at the bottom over here, you can see where our community is picking. And it says, according to this, Ebo, 67%. And it looks like a lot of people are picking decision. So if you're a casual. Well, just go down to that, and you can also go to the odds as well, as have Ebo as a favorite. Just looking at this quickly for myself, I'm going to lean towards Ebo, but we don't know much about Rafael. He's been finishing guys early. Who the hell knows what's going on? Let's look at the level of competition for Rafael Cercara. This guy's 34 years of age. Here's the last dude he finished. This guy's 6'4-0. You look at his resume, and he's on a 2-fight losing streak. I don't know where the rest. Oh, here we go. I mean, nothing spectacular, but he does have a winning record. Let's look at the next guy. A bunch of canceled bouts. Rodrigo Araujo. Here we go. Let's look at the next bout. Diaz, 1-2-0. Let's look at the next one. Azevedo, 4-2-0. He's got a winning record over there. And look at his resume. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Okay. So what are we getting from this? I'll just pick up another one here. Souza, 0-6-0. Okay, you get the idea. So the level of competition for Rafael Cercara, not very good. I mean, we got to go with the guy that's at least fought in the UFC before. Now, I'm not saying he's a lock, but in this situation, he's out of Extreme Couture, which is a gym that I would say is a solid gym. Look at Francis Ngannou's last win. He turned into Francis Nurmagomedov. But Extreme Couture is a good gym over there. So I got to go with Ebo. He's been finishing a lot of these guys. These are big dudes. Let's see if this guy's ever been. Oh, he's never been finished before because he's undefeated. So I don't know. I'm going to go like this. I'm going to go with Ebo, and I'm going to go knockout in the first round. I'm going to say these guys are going to swing, try to take each other's heads off, and Turkey's going to get it done. So I'm going to go Ebo there. Of course, remember, save your picks between each one, because if you change pages on your phone, you might lose your picks. So make sure you save your picks as you go through this so you don't have any complications down the road. All right, so the next fight on this card, we have Bruno Silva versus Ismail Nurmagomedov. This guy was in the UFC before. He's the favorite, and he's not in the UFC. He went over to Brave. Bruno Silva, we know what's happened with him. He's lost to Chris Weidman. Who else did he lose to? He lost to Shara Magomedov, who's on this card, Brendan Allen. He lost to good dudes, beat a decent guy in Brad Tavares, and lost to Mearshart, Alex Pereira. I mean, if you look at the losses on this guy's resume, they're solid opponents. Now, if you go over to Ismail, okay, this guy was in the UFC before. This guy had a UFC fight, and his last fight was in 2020 against Sean Brady, and he lost. Not a bad loss. He beat, I don't know, how do you say this guy's? Sair Abahadzazavan. He also, Prazeres, he defeated as well in the UFC. So he has two wins in the UFC, 2 losses in the UFC, and they decided to send him on his way back to EMC and Brave. So he did some work over there, but he's got some wins and losses. The guys that he won and lost to, well, they all have winning records. The people he lost to have pretty solid records. But if you look at Ismail, this guy who was banished from the UFC, he also is a welterweight. So that's something to take into consideration. I guess he's moving up in this fight to fight Bruno Silva. I got to go with Bruno. I don't know. Call me crazy here, but I think Bruno bounces back. He's not very good. He's actually terrible. But the guys he lost to were solid dudes, and he's fighting at his weight class, whereas Ismail is going up. So I'm going to go Bruno on this one. I think Bruno gets it done. Let's see. His last win, Silva, was against Tavares, and that was a knockout in the first. It seems like every time he wins, he's knocking people out. You look at Ismail, and he either finishes or, the last couple of fights were first rounders. Let's go Bruno round 1. I'm going to go Bruno round 1 knockout. According to this, right off the bat, we're starting off the card with 2 first-round knockouts, and I'm going with my first plus money guy on the card. Let me know in the comments section what you think. I can't even believe I'm picking Bruno Silva. I honestly can't even wrap my head around that, but yeah, I just did it. Let's look at Hugo versus Basharat. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to open up both guys here. Victor Hugo, 5'7", 5'8" for Basharat. According to the tail of the tape, 71 apiece. Orthodox over here is the stance. Now, of course, they still got to hit the scales. And look at this. 100% of our community is picking Basharat, and mostly by decision. I understand the decision, but wow. 100% as Basharat is a minus 725 favorite. Boy. Okay. Damn. Clean sweep. Basharat at 12-0 has looked very good lately. He's got a very unique style to his fighting. He's always trying to put you down, but he never quite gets it done. He has a submission 2 fights ago, but a lot of decisions. I don't know. This guy, every time I see he's on a card, it just screams decision. Now, if you look at Victor Hugo, he's on a nice win streak. He's 25-4-0. And if you look down his resume, I mean, there's a lot of green over here, a lot of wins, a lot of wins, a lot of experience for Hugo. He came in off the Contender Series in 2023. He got a submission win. Then his last fight, a unanimous decision. Okay, so this was against Pedro Falcao, 5'7", 5'8". This is a tough fight for Basharat, even though he is a big favorite, and I am leaning in his direction. You got to look at Hugo and say, Astra fight team, let's make an argument here. I mean, he's got 7 knockouts, 10 submissions. nickname Striker. This should be a pretty good fight to watch. This guy's going to have a chip on his shoulder going in as the underdog. Brazil versus Afghanistan. I'm going to go with the big favorite on this one. I would love to make an argument for Hugo, and Hugo's got a shot, but Basharat's got the crowd in his favor, so I'm going to go with Afghanistan in this one, and we're going to stay consistent with a decision and save that pick. It's locked. It's locked. We're going to set up Chris Barnett and Kennedy Nzechukwu. Let's check out the tail of the tape on this puppy. Chris Barnett making his return. He's only 5'9", but he is big and round and exciting and likes to do flips and shit. Well, he's fighting Kennedy Nzechukwu, who has not looked good lately. He's been on the program before Kennedy, and he is looking to bounce back into the win column. This is going to be a sloppy mess, weird-looking fight as Kennedy's coming in at 6'5". I mean, that's pretty big compared to a guy that's 5'9". This is going to look ridiculous. This is going to look like something out of Fight Circus, and it's going down in Abu Dhabi. This is an interesting one that's going to be going down in Abu Dhabi, a clash of a titan and a fun-looking individual. The last fight for Chris Barnett was in 2022, and here we are approaching the end of 2024, and Chris Barnett finally is back inside the octagon. He's a fan favorite. He knocked out Jay Collier, lost to Bidet, Gian Vellante win, lost to Ben Rothwell, submitted there, and that was his UFC experience. So according to this, he should lose. According to this, because we're going loss, win, you know. And you look at Kennedy Nzechukwu, and he is lost to Ovince St. Preux, which it doesn't look very good. Ovince looks terrible lately. And Dustin Jacoby, who's a solid guy, not shocked that Dustin won that one, but getting knocked out in the first round. I thought it was a quick stop, just going to say. Kennedy beat our friend Devin Clark. Ian Cutelaba, he beat Carl Robertson before that. Nigga Moreno lost, and Da-Woon Jung a loss there. But if you look at Kennedy's resume, he's came in from the Contender Series. He's kind of a vet now. It's kind of weird, man. It just feels like yesterday when he appeared in the Contender Series with his tough backstory. And if you look at the odds on this one, let's check out the odds. I'm actually curious. So in the middle of the fighters on MMA-Holes.tv, you can click on the odds, and it takes you right on over to my bookie. And let's look at this one. I'm curious where they have this. So Kennedy is a minus 599 favorite. Oh, my God. So if you like Chris Barnett, you're getting a plus 400 on him. Now, just looking at this matchup here, I think this should be a matchup where Kennedy bounces back and wins. And Chris Barnett, the way he's going win-loss, the layoff, this and that, he's a fun guy to watch. But I feel like Chris Barnett is going to be overpowered and oversized in this fight. But Kennedy has not looked good. Kennedy's an athlete, and I feel like he went back to the drawing board, and I think he's going to get the job done here. Let's look at Barnett's loss resume. He lost decision, and he got submitted. He's been knocked out, but that was in 2017. That was Alex Nicholson. Wow. Alex Nicholson in 2017. He was knocked out before that as well. So he's been slept a couple of times. Yeah, mostly a decision, or he got a submission loss there. Man, this is tough. I got to see the face-off. It's going to look ridiculous. But I'm going to go with Kennedy, and I'm going to go with a knockout here. The last time Kennedy won, he got a submission on Devin, Ian Cutelaba knockout, and a Carl Robertson. He tends to knock people out a little bit later. The knockout in the third over here, knockout in the second. His knockout in the first in the Contender Series was in 2018, and he's got a couple other knockouts early, but mostly second, third round. And Chris Barnett's a little durable. So I'm going to say Kennedy Nzechukwu. I'm going to say knockout. I'm going to say in round number 2. But I got to say this. If you're a degenerate gambler and you like plus money, if you're getting Chris Barnett at a plus 400 and you know the dude's got pop in his hands, you may want to roll the dice on that because Kennedy has not looked good lately, and that loss to Ovince was terrible. So just saying, just throwing it out there, this could be a terrible fight. Honestly, this could be a decision, boring as all hell as I don't know, like the size of Kennedy versus Barnett, it just, even though Barnett's an exciting guy, I don't know. I could just see this thing becoming two tired dudes late. But I'm going to go with Kennedy in the knockout second round. Let me know down below who you got in this one. I'm curious. You got Bruno Ferreira versus Abus Magomedov. Oh, my goodness. Now, this is good. And let's talk about this card as a whole. Like, the excitement level for this. We know what's up top over here. We have Khamzat returning. Prayers that Khamzat makes weight and doesn't pull out of this thing. Knock on wood. Hopefully we get to see it. And Max versus Topuria is a great matchup. Ilia is in the zone. Max coming off his BMF fight. Fantastic stuff over here. But if you scroll through this card, so far, what are we thinking of the prelims? I got to be honest with you. I'm a little bit underwhelmed, even though I do feel like there are going to be a lot of finishes on this card. Little underwhelmed here. Excited that Barnett's coming back, and we've had Kennedy on the show, so I'm always excited about Kennedy fighting. But I'm kind of mid so far. But then we go into this fight here between Bruno Ferreira and Magomedov, and now I'm interested. Now you really got my interest. Like, this actually genuinely excites me because Bruno Ferreira is a monster. This guy is an animal. He's constantly coming forward and trying to knock your head off. And Abus is a guy that is heavy in the beginning of his fights where he puts on the pace and then is notorious for gassing out. So this is going to be a very interesting fight to see play out. Let's look at their resumes and have a little fun with this. The tail of the tape, Ferreira 5'10", 6'2" for the Germany man in Abus. This is a middleweight fight. Ferreira is typically the smaller guy in these fights, but dude's got hands. 186, 185, we'll find out the weights when they weigh in, but 72-inch reach versus a 78-inch reach in Magomedov. Now, these stats will adjust, so when the weigh-ins happen on Friday, this will update when they do weigh in. But anyway, Bruno Ferreira, let's look at his resume. Ferreira is coming off a 2-fight win streak, Stoltzfus knockout, Hawes knockout lost to Ruzhabov, Rodriguez knockout, Aliu. I mean, look at this, is nuts. Everything in the first round. I mean, going all the way back, whether it's a win or loss, and mostly wins, only one loss there. Going back to 2022, and it was still a knockout win. That was in the second round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 knockouts in his last 8 fights, and all in the first round. That's pretty good. That's pretty freaking good. So yeah, he's a problem. Knocking out Gregory Rodriguez. I mean, RoboCop's he's a G. This is whew. Now you got on the other side of Buss, who's coming off a win against Warley Alves. He lost to Kyle Barallo and Sean Strickland. So you got a former champion, and you have a guy in Kyle Barallo who looks like he could be a champion. This guy is like the boogeyman in the weight class. The new version of Paulo Costa, if he was good. Sean Strickland with a knockout is something that stands out, okay? I'm sorry, guys. I know that Abus had a pretty solid first round, and then Sean finished him in the second. But Sean, we know Sean. Sean puts on the pace. Sean is, come on, Jack! But if Sean knocked this dude out, Lewis Taylor knocked this dude. I'm sorry, guys. I have to go with Bruno. Looking at the odds, looking at the fans, looking at the MMA-Holes, Bruno Ferreira, 88%, and look at that knockout bar over there, the black. It's pretty extreme. You do have 13% going to Bus, and maybe that is because Abus got the Magomedov name and we're fighting in Abu Dhabi, so we know where the crowd's going over there. But I got to go with the Brazilian on this one, and with the plus money. Now, if Abus does the grappling approach and really tries to tie up Ferreira, yeah, Bruno could get his hand not raised. But Abus gasses. He's been knocked out, and I got to be honest with you, I think Ferreira takes his head off. So I'm going to go Bruno. I'm going to say Bruno gets the job done. I think the first round is going to be fireworks. I think it's going to be phenomenal, and I'm going to first round again. Let's go. Lock it in. Bruno Ferreira, first round finish. Yeah, baby.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Okay, this fight has been taken off the card. Now we're moving into Orlabai versus Rebecki. The prelims have 2 more fights on it. A lot of fights on this card, like I said before, but we're getting better because we got the Cyclops over here. This guy looks Very scary every time he enters the cage. But, and a big but, big buck. He's got his hands full with Rebecca. He does. And Rebecca getting that plus money, the plus 230. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. We got a good fight. Rebecca is coming off a loss to Diego Ferreira. Roosevelt Roberts, he submitted. Rajabov knocked out. Those are two pretty good wins over there, although Roosevelt Roberts is not very good. And then you go the other way, and you got this Orlabai, win, 13-1-1-1. You look at his last loss that was in 2020 against Khalil Satuev. Okay, this guy over here, Khalil, that was his last loss. But ever since he lost, boom, all wins. Now, his last fight, he looked very human, and he was gassing, and he was huffing and puffing, and it's concerning to me. I got to be honest with you. I think Rebecca could be a live dog. We still need to learn more about Mir Quebec. We have more to learn about this dude. If you're looking at both of these guys, 5'7" versus 5'10", what's the reach at over here? The reach is at 66. Wow, 75.5 inch reach. So Mirtek is a lot bigger. Man, there's a part of me that's like entertaining the plus money on this one because it's a pretty sizable plus money. But I'm going to have to go with Kyrgyzstan on this one just because of the home field advantage. The question is, does he finish him? Let's see. This dude doesn't. Let's see. He got knocked out here in the third. He's pretty durable, this guy. And knocked out in the second. I feel if a knockout happens, it's going to be late. I don't think it will happen, though. All right, I'm going to go Erlabai by decision on this one. I'm going to save it by decision. Let's see what the community picked on this. They got 69% for Erlabai. Yeah, so Rebecca's got a little bit more love at 31%, and mostly by decision. It's interesting. A lot of people are picking Erlabai mostly by submission on this. They're liking the submission pick on it, so they're swinging for a finish. But I don't know. That last fight really concerned me. His gas tank concerns me. So I'm going to say he gets his hand raised. I'm not super confident, to be honest, but I'm going to pick by decision. I'll say the momentum keeps going forward, and we're going to lock that in. Now, if you like these prediction videos, let me know in the comments section down below. Yes, I want to see more of them, or no, I don't want to see these anymore. Rafael dos Anjos versus Jeff Neal. USA versus Brazil. All right, let's go. Let's take a peek at this one here. Jeff Neal on a 2-fight losing streak to Machado, Gary the Cook, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. Now, listen, those are two good losses. Say what you will about Ian. Ian's pretty solid. He's shown and proved himself as a legit prospect, so not a bad loss. Although it was a split decision, and Jeff Neal was popping Ian in that fight, I have a feeling Jeff's going to have a huge chip on his shoulder in this one here. He defeated Vicente Luque. He defeated Ponzinibbio. You could play the MMA math game. And the reason why I say that is because Vicente Luque beat up RDA pretty bad, even though it went the distance over there. So if you want to play that game, you can. So Rafael dos Anjos, he, lightweight champion, back and forth at welterweight, 39 years of age. I have respect for dos Anjos for his longevity, but I will say this fight here seems to be the Jeff Neal fight. I feel like that Jeff Neal is going to get the job done. I think RDA stays alive, but gets beaten up pretty bad. And I'm going to go Jeff Neal, and I'm going to go by decision. I'm going to say, like I said before, I think RDA stays alive in this one. I'm going the distance. I'm going Jeff Neal for the win. Now, if we're scrolling through on the preliminaries, we're looking through this, and I have picked, besides Bruno is my underdog so far, but I've picked all favorites leading in. And I typically like to look for those underdogs. Oh, actually, no, Bruno Silva is another under as well. So I got two unders on the prelims. Now, it's pretty easy to just pick all the favorites and call it a day when you're doing your predictions, but I love those dogs, man. I love looking for those dogs. So I got two dogs in the prelims. Now, stop the video right here. Let me know in the comments section, how many dogs do you have on the prelims? Where are you leaning? Where's your money going? Let's get into the main card. Okay, So Shara's back. Man, Shara's getting a lot of love, and I'm still not sold on how good he is. This guy over here has one dead eye. He can't fight in the States. I don't know what that's about. But he's fighting Petrosian, and Petrosian's a guy that's won me money before as a plus money guy. He's a tough dude, and when we had Gregory Rodriguez on, he said, like, yo, this guy he's difficult. So Petrosian is a very formidable opponent. He's a little bit bigger at 6'3" over 6'2". You got that 71-inch reach, but you got Shara with the advantage with 73. You're looking at the percentage from our community, and 18% are going Arman, and 82% are going Shara. Now let's look at the backstory. Shara Magomedov is undefeated at 14-0. The Alexachuk fight went the distance, and he had some problems in that fight. And the gas tank was a little concerning as well. But he did get his hand raised, and that's what matters, right? You look at his opponent, and Arman, who's coming off a loss against Rodolfo Vieira, he has, he's up and down over here. He beat Duncan, which is a really solid win. That got me plus money. Duncan's a tough dude, man. That's a scary dude at the weight class. So that's a really solid win over there, and that really stands out. A.J. Thompson, you got Kyle Barala loss over there. So you got this guy at 33 years old. You got Shara at 30. You got the hype in Shara. You're going to have the home field advantage with Shara, but I'm not convinced. And this is another under that's standing out to me. Damn, do I take a swing? Now, this one could change. I may have to see the face-off on this, but I will lock in a pick for you guys here today. I am leaning towards Petrosian. I got to be honest with you. I think Petrosian might be able to squeeze out a decision here. He did get submitted by Vieira in the first round in his last fight. Okay? To refresh my memory on Rodolfo, Rodolfo is 10-2-0, 2-fight win streak, and he beat Petrosian and Cody Brundage. He lost to the Action Man. But this guy is a pretty solid grappler. Dustin Stoltzfus. I mean, this guy, he's a legit steroid-looking Brazilian. So maybe I can give him a pass there. Man, is Shara good? He does have the home field advantage. Damn, this is an interesting scrap. This really is interesting. I don't hate Petrosian as the under. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Let's see. The people over here are picking Petrosian. The 18% have mostly decision. That's where I'm leaning too. Shara's all over the place. So it's leading in the knockout with Shara. A little bit submission, a little bit decision from the people on MMA-Holes.tv. Okay, let me think about this. I am on the fence. I'm definitely going to come back to this one. All right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick Shara today, and I'm going to pick by decision. Okay, this is where I stand. You guys have to be subscribed to the channel. Tune in on Friday's show after the weigh-ins. Fuqua Friday will be live. I might switch it over to Petrosian. This one's a swing for me. But I'm going to go with the guy that's going to have the Abu Dhabi advantage. And I'm going to go with Shara here. But I'm telling you right now, Arman is a live dog. Now we move into this fight, and this fight is fascinating. Rakic versus Ankalaev. Let's go! Yo, Alexander Rakic. This dude is in, really good shape. There's a video of him circulating around the internet of him hitting the pads, looking phenomenal shape. This guy's taking this very, very serious. And I got to be honest with you, Ankalaev is a guy that I do believe is going to be a champion. I think he should be the champion. That weird fight with Blachowicz, I don't know what happened there. But regardless, this guy probably should be the guy with the belt around his waist. And he should be the guy fighting Alex Pereira. I don't know why that's not happening. Or yeah, I do. But anyway, I think it's inevitable. If Rakic could spoil the party at a plus 290, which is a pretty sizable underdog, that really throws a monkey wrench into the situation at light heavyweight. You look at the fan predictions over here. Alexander Rakic only coming in at 6%, getting no love at all. At all. No love. Magomed Ankalaev, you got the Johnny Walker knockout in the second round, which Johnny Walker has really fallen apart. He's terrible. No contest. That draw at Blachowicz. I got to be honest with you. I thought Blachowicz won that one. Just saying. But anyway, you got the Anthony Smith knockout in the second. Thiago Santos, Ozdemir, Krylov, the Kudilaba back and forth. Let me just say this. Even though I think Magomed is very, very scary, and when you hear Sean Strickland talk about him when he was training with him at Extreme, Sean says he's the scariest guy out there from back in the day, he was saying. And, I like to believe what Sean says. He's been in the cage with Francis Ngannou, for God's sakes. But if you look at this guy's resume, what is his best win? The Krylov one? I mean, Jan Blachowicz is a draw. Where does his Anthony Smith, Johnny Walker, Kudilaba? I mean, Kudilaba is just too small. Prochniau? Yeah, where is his best win? Rakic might be the guy that's his best. You look at Rakic, I mean, he's fought against... he did get knocked out by Yuri, so if you want to play the MMA math game, but the Yuri fight, he got knocked out by him as well. But Yuri, listen, I know people are down on Yuri, but Yuri's still a tough dude. Lost to Volkan Ozdemir, who's the dark horse right now. Jimmy Manawa, Devin Clark. Yeah, even if you look at his resume over here, what's his best win? Okay. Well, that's answered. I think Magomed. I'm going to say Magomed in 2. Magomed knockout round 2. That it is. It's done. It's locked.
Wonderful.
Both of these guys need to be tested. I mean, we need like a legit, or not tested, but they need to have like, I don't know, a better name as a win, I don't know. This is going to show us a lot. So I'm looking forward to this thing. We'll see if the winner of this is the person that moves on to fight Alex. Hopefully that's the case. Okay. Poor Dan Ige. Oh, poor Dan Ige. Oh, my goodness. Doing the UFC favors. Coming off the couch the day of the fight. And here you are fighting Lerone Murphy. God bless you, Dan Ige. God bless you. You're a tough son of a bitch, but oh boy. All right, I'm going to open up the profiles here. We have 3 more fights on this card. Remember, hit that like button. If you stayed this long into the video, let me know in the comments section. You're a trooper for our early predictions for UFC 308. But here we are, full card, and we are deep into the card as Dan Ige is 5'7", 5'9" for Murphy. You got a 71-inch reach versus a 73.5-inch reach. You got orthodox versus orthodox. Okay. Now, the weight over here at 164, it's because he came off the couch, that catch weight thing. But let me save picks, too. Don't forget to save your picks. When that yellow thing pops up on top, that means you saved your predictions in on MMA-Holes.tv. And remember, if you're going to place your bets, going over to my bookie, I got some unders on this card that I'm looking at. I'm peeking. I'm creeping. I got some degenerate unders. So come Friday, I'll be locking those things in. Also, remember on my bookie, remember that they have a risk-free bet that usually drops on Wednesday. It's for the Thursday night extravaganza, whether it's the NFL or whatever is going on. Every week, my bookie has a risk-free bet. You deposit your money in there, and you're saying, hey, this running back's going to, get a touchdown, 7 touchdowns, or whatever the hell the bet is. If you lose, they give you your money back. Risk-free. So go check that out at MyBookie. The code is MMA-HOLES, and good luck. Well, you don't need good luck. You got to win regardless because you're going to get your money back. Anyway, back to this over here. Lerone Murphy, Edson Barboza. Boy, he beat the hell out of him, but it did go the distance. Kulabau, unanimous decision win. A split decision win on Gabriel Santos. A knockout on Amirkhani. Oh, God. Now, you go this way. Diego Lopez, I mean, what are you going to say? It did go the distance, but Diego Lopez looks phenomenal. And it was that short notice thing. And to go the distance off the couch is very, very impressive. Andre Fili win. Andre's a tough dude. No champion, but tough guy. Bryce Mitchell lost there. I tell you what, Bryce Mitchell, he's good, but not champion. Nate Landwehr win. Damon Jackson win. Evlov loss. Josh Emmett loss. Korean Zombie loss. Okay, we're picking Murphy, and I think it's going to go the distance. Last time he's been knocked out, Ige. Yeah, it's going the distance. Okay, I'm going Lerone Murphy by decision. That's an easy one for me. That's probably the easiest pick that I was able to put out here. Here's another pick that's easy for me, guys. Listen, I like Khamzat. I want Khamzat to be a champion. I think him active and as a champion is phenomenal. I'm a big fan of Chimaev, but what are we doing here? 67% of our community picking Khamzat. What's happening? What is happening with this world? I mean, the 33%, this should be closer. This should be way, way, way closer. No respect to Bobby Knuckles. Now, he is coming in a little undersized, 6 foot, 6'2" Chimaev. Chimaev has the reach of 75-inch reach and 73.5, but both of these guys were at welterweight at some point in their career, and here they are at middleweight. They're going to go at it. Rob is still relatively young, considering all the experience he has inside the octagon, as he's 27-7-0. He's coming in as a plus 190 underdog. Khamzat a minus 235. No respect anywhere here. Anywhere. Listen, if Khamzat wins, it's better. It's way better if Khamzat wins, because we kind of been there, done that with Robert Whittaker. I am a big Robert Whittaker fan. I typically pick him in every fight. I like watching Rob fight. I think this dude is way better than people are saying he is, and how this is so lopsided is crazy to me. Now, Khamzat has shown that he's had issues. He's had a lot of issues. I mean, he even has issues getting into the cage, but when he's there, he's first round scary guy, right? Very scary guy. If you look at his resume, he's undefeated. He's unblemished. So I know people are like, well, until he loses, I'm not going to pick against him, and I get it. But Kamaru Usman, the majority decision. Kamaru Usman, short notice with 2 bum knees. I mean, guys. And it went the distance. And I got to be honest with you. Some people are saying they thought Kamaru won that fight. Then you look at the Kevin Holland fight. Listen, this was just forget this. Forget this fight over here with Kevin Holland, because this was a shit show. He was supposed to fight Nate Diaz, and that fell apart. He missed weight. It was just a whole thing. Yes, he mauled Holland, but that was a setup for Khamzat. Gilbert Burns. This was the one that really stood out, because I got to be honest with you. I thought Khamzat was going to go in there and run over Gilbert Burns, and he didn't. It was a barn burner. It was a unanimous decision, but a lot of people said that Gilbert won that fight. That guy got knocked out by Dan Hooker back in the day. Nothing against Dan, but I'm just saying, what are we doing? Like, you're having problems with Gilbert? Gilbert hits hard. He's got the jiu-jitsu. I get it. Maybe Gilbert was just in the zone. Maybe Khamzat was having an off day. I don't know. But that one really stands out to me, and I was defending Khamzat in that fight, and I'm still a fan of Khamzat. I'm not here trying to crap on him. But what's Khamzat's best win without like an asterisk next to it? Like everything that you have here when it comes to the bigger names, and the Mearshart one was pretty cool, where he went in there, first time he went up the weight class, just goes in there, flatlines him in the first round. I mean, I thought the hype was real after that. Jing Liang Li was a tough guy to finish. Actually, I don't think he was finished before that. I don't even know what the stat was, but Jing Liang Li, very tough. Now, recently saw him get knocked out, but still, the Leech is a tough dude, and that was a good win. But the Gilbert Burns fight it's been different, and the activity is not quite there of what it used to be. In 2020, this guy was active, man. Look at these 3 fights in a row in 2020 over here. He was just rolling them out, but he was fighting nobodies. And then Mearshart. So, listen, you look at Robert Whittaker. He knocked out Ikram, and a lot of people were saying, yo, Ikram coming in on short notice. This guy is super dangerous. Rob's in big trouble. In fact, Rob became the underdog in that fight and smokes him in the first round. He beat Paulo Costa in a 3-round decision, but he beat up Paulo Costa. He looked good. A lot of people thought he was going to get knocked out with Paulo. The fight against DDP. Listen, DDP's the champ. He's the champ. And DDP just took out Israel Adesanya. Duplessis, fair play. He's a tough guy. I could give him a pass on that one. Marvin Vettori, unanimous decision win over him. Israel Adesanya, we know what happened with Izzy, right? You got flatlined in 2019. I mean, Rob didn't even look like himself in that fight. The moment seemed too big for him, and he just looked too jittery. He came up all bulky with the muscles. It just didn't seem like, and listen, Izzy's a G. Izzy knocked out Pereira, for God's sakes, so I can forgive him. You got Darren Till win. You got the Cannonier win. You got the Kelvin Gastelum win. I mean, come on. Now, yes, they're all decisions over here, those wins, but still, they're wins over legit guys besides Kelvin Gastelum. You got the rematch against Izzy, where Rob looked a lot better. And I gotta say this, in a third fight, I said this after the second fight. In a third fight, I think Rob beats Izzy. I truly believe it. Rob knows how to readjust and regroup and go back to the drawing board. He's a smart in-the-cage fighter. He knows how to fix those mistakes. So now, you fast forward. You got a guy that's about to fight Khamzat Chimaev, a fight that was supposed to happen and Ikram filled in. This dude's got a chip on his shoulder. Let's look at Rob's age. Rob is only 33. It's crazy to me. Crazy to me to think that Rob is still only 33 years of age. In fact, you can say he's in his prime right now, and you look back at all the shit he did in his career, being a champ, defending the belt. Now, there were injuries, there were problems, but how he did so much as such a young fighter, and he's still technically kind of in his prime. You know, at 33 is a pretty, like a sweet spot for a lot of these fighters. Now, he might have some damage along the way, you know, accumulated from all those fights, the Yoel Romero fights, whatever. But here he is fighting Khamzat Chimaev, and I got to say this, Robert Whittaker will win. He's going to win this fight, guys. I'm telling you right now. I know Khamzat looks like he's in great shape. Khamzat has holes in his game, and Robert Whittaker is going to expose them. Robert Whittaker grapple as well. He can do everything. So I'm going to go Robert Whittaker for the win in this fight, and because it's a 3-round fight, I'm going to go the distance. Robert Whittaker by decision. Now, of course, I got to see the face-off. Maybe it will change to a finish. But I'm going to ride on Robert unless I see something crazy at the face-offs. Usually Robert, when he's staring his fighters down, his opponents down, usually it's a whole different ball game. He looks them into the eyes. He looks them into the soul. And you can tell that he is ready to go. In every fight, like he always has that look in his face. So it's tough to take things from his face-offs pre-fight. But I'm going Bobby Knuckles on this one. Let me know in the chat if I made a mistake. Main event of the evening. Let's go. Max Blessed Holloway versus Ilia Topuria. And look at this. The community, MMA-Holes.tv. Max Holloway, 71%. 71% going for Max Blessed Holloway over Ilia Topuria. Wow. That's shocking to me because Ilia is a minus 245 favorite. Ilia at 5'7", 5'11 Max, 69-inch reach for both guys. Usually Max is the shorter reach, even though he's typically the taller guy because Max has T-Rex arms. But they have the same reach, both orthodox fighters. Okay. I know you guys love Ilia Topuria. I know you guys are fans of the Georgian from Spain. We don't even know where this guy's from. But the Hawaiian over here in Max Holloway, how could you go against him? How could you go against Blessed? Oh, I know. We're going to talk about the Volkanovski fights. Alexander Volkanovski, the trilogy that went down. And you see all the L's of Volkanovski, right? Unanimous decision loss, split decision loss, unanimous decision loss, Volkanovski. One of those fights you can make, you have a valid argument. If you think Max won that fight, I think so too. But 2-1 Volk, 3-0 Volk, whatever you want to say. The last fight against Volkanovski was in 2022. 2022 Volkanovski against Max Holloway is a different Volkanovski as the one that stepped in the cage against Ilia Topuria. I'm going to say it. Way different. I mean, you got Volkanovski coming in after the fight with Islam Makhachev and that whole brain scramble and his emotions and whatever. Even his chin might even be gone now. Who knows? We'll find out soon. But it's a different Volk. It's an older Volk. It's a Volk that says I want to stay very active because I am getting a little older and I don't know how much time I have left competing. So, listen, I can't play that MMA math game here. If you're going to pick Ilia, that is not the way to pick him, for me at least. Looking at his wins here, what is his best win? It is against Volkanovski, right? That is his best win, but we have to see what kind of Volkanovski is there. He might be done. Josh Emmett, who's got heavy-ass hands, to beat Josh Emmett's impressive, but is Josh a champ? No. Bryce Mitchell, listen, dude's eating raw eggs. The dude thinks, I don't know, aliens are real or whatever. I don't know what he believes in Jesus. I don't know what the hell. But anyway, Josh is a little odd. Hey Bear, Jai Hey Bear, Ryan Hall, and Damon Jackson knockouts. Nothing against Damon. He was on the show before. But those knockouts don't do anything for me. They're good. Bryce Mitchell, a submission on Bryce Mitchell, that's kind of impressive, right? To beat up Bryce Mitchell so bad and submit him. I mean, that is impressive. It's not like his resume is not impressive when it comes to how he's defeated his opponents. But who's his best win? Volkanovski. And there are questions. Ilia is only 27 years of age. He's still a relatively young man. He's got his house all pimped out with all the latest gear and equipment to make sure he's ready for his fights. He's taking this very serious. You could tell he's got a good fight IQ. He's only 27. I mean, he might not even be in his prime right now, but I feel he's a little undersized. I do. I know he hits hard. I know he's got good grappling, but I feel he's undersized. Fighting a guy in Max Holloway who's never been knocked out. Just say it how it is. And Max just took out Justin Gaethje in the 5th round, beat the shit out of him. Gaethje, listen, maybe not a champion, but Justin Gaethje is a car crash of a fight. To get in there and put him down the way Max did, very, very impressive. Max could be one of the best boxers in the UFC against a guy that might be one of the best boxers in the UFC. I mean, this guy's got some good boxing, right? You got a great striking fight that's probably going to go down on Saturday. And I'm very much looking forward to it. And I know you guys that are on the Ilia train are just going to be laughing, right? And saying, oh, yeah, you guys, wait and see. I heard it with Volkanovski. I picked Volkanovski. And I'm not even a Volkanovski guy. But I picked him to beat Topuria. I'm going to double down. I'm going to double down, guys. We're picking blessed. We're going with the blessed one to take out Ilia and hand him his first O. I'm going Max Holloway, and I'm going the distance. In a war, I'm going to give Topuria the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to say he lasts. But I'm going to say Max out-volumes him, gets the job done, and becomes new. Are you going to call him a double champ? Save the picks. Hit the save button. Remember, when you're done with your picks, go all the way down to the bottom. All the way down. And don't forget to get your tiebreaker in on MMA-Holes.tv. It's a significant strike tiebreaker for the main event. Get that in there in case there is a tie at the end of the event. Guys and gals, we did it. We did it. We made it to the very end. And if you made it to the end of the video, let me know in the comments down below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Who you got?